These 5 world news stories are changing the face of global diplomacy. Are you paying attention? My name is Vinay, and tonight we're cutting through the noise to explore the real forces shaping our world. From conflict zones to climate summits, from trade wars to migration, these stories ripple through our lives in ways we often overlook. Our goal, clarity, and context, so you see the bigger picture behind the headlines. Let's dive in. In Ukraine, a nation steeped in history and resilience, the brutal war with Russia relentlessly grinds on, a grinding conflict that has become a defining moment for the 21st century. Each day brings new challenges and tests the limits of human endurance. This war is fundamentally reshaping global alliances, forcing nations to reevaluate their positions, and testing the world's collective resolve in the face of aggression. The stakes are incredibly high. Western weapons and unwavering support have been crucial, helping Ukraine hold the line against a larger and more powerful adversary, providing a vital lifeline in this desperate struggle. But Russia's relentless and calculated attacks on critical infrastructure are a deliberate attempt to break the civilian spirit as the harsh winter looms, adding another layer of suffering to an already devastated population. In response to the escalating threat, NATO has significantly expanded and reinforced its eastern flank, sending a clear message of deterrence and solidarity to protect its member states. This has effectively created a new Iron Curtain in Europe, a stark reminder of past divisions and the ongoing struggle for security and stability on the continent. Sanctions are beginning to squeeze Russia's economy, impacting its ability to finance the war and project power on the global stage. However, new energy ties with Asia, particularly China, are complicating the global economic landscape, creating new dependencies and challenging the existing order. This conflict is more than just a regional dispute, it's a global stress test. A comprehensive examination of the world's systems and institutions. It is forcing nations to pick sides, reevaluate their strategic priorities, and fundamentally rethink their approach to security in an increasingly volatile world. The elusive search for a lasting peace continues, but the path forward is fraught with peril, uncertainty, and the ever-present risk of further escalation. The world watches with bated breath, knowing that the outcome of this conflict will echo far beyond the borders of Ukraine, shaping the future of international relations for generations to come. The US and China are locked in a high-stakes economic rivalry that's about far more than tariffs. Technology, security, and global influence are at the heart of tense negotiations. The US restricts advanced tech exports. China retaliates with mineral controls, shaking global supply chains. Companies worldwide are caught in the crossfire, facing rising costs and uncertainty. The risk of fractured global economy, split into competing blocks. Whether these giants can coexist or escalate will shape the world's economic future. Every move is watched because the stakes couldn't be higher. The Middle East is currently witnessing a significant surge in diplomatic activity. A new chapter seems to be unfolding, with historic talks underway, aimed at normalizing ties between Israel and its neighbors. These discussions represent a pivotal moment in Arab nations. The potential ramifications of these talks are far-reaching, promising to reshape the geopolitical landscape. A potential deal with Saudi Arabia, a key player in the region, could fundamentally redraw the region's alliances, creating new partnerships and potentially shifting the balance of power. This shift is largely driven by shared interests in stability and economic growth, and also by mutual concerns over the activities and influence of Iran in the region. The US is actively involved, seeking a significant diplomatic win in a region fraught with challenges, but the long-standing Palestinian issue remains a major obstacle to any lasting peace agreement. Saudi Arabia, in particular, insists on seeing real and tangible progress toward the establishment of a viable and independent Palestinian state. This remains a deeply divisive issue within Israel, further complicating the already delicate and complex negotiations. Meanwhile, China is actively working to broker new dialogues and facilitate discussions, and fragile ceasefires are offering a glimmer of hope in conflict zones like Yemen, suggesting a path towards de-escalation. The region stands at a critical crossroads, a pivotal moment in its history. Will it choose the path of lasting peace and cooperation? Or will it succumb to another cycle of mistrust and violence? The stakes are incredibly high for all involved, and the entire world is watching with bated breath, eager to see what the future holds. The question remains, can this newfound momentum truly overcome decades of deep-seated conflict and pave the way for a brighter future? Climate change is now undeniably central to global diplomacy, commanding attention at the highest levels of international relations. It's no longer a peripheral issue, but a core concern driving discussions and decisions worldwide. Record-breaking floods, devastating wildfires, and increasingly frequent extreme weather disasters make the climate crisis impossible to ignore. These events serve as stark reminders of the urgent need for action. World leaders face mounting pressure from scientists, activists, and the public. They are urged to strengthen emissions pledges, setting more ambitious targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The goal is to accelerate the shift away from reliance on fossil fuels, embracing renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower. A breakthrough: the creation of a loss and damage fund designed to provide financial assistance to vulnerable nations already suffering the worst impacts of climate change. However, the specific details of this fund, including its funding mechanisms and allocation criteria, remain contentious and subject to ongoing negotiation. The challenge: balancing short-term economic interests with the urgent and long-term need for decisive climate action. Climate talks ultimately test our collective will to cooperate on a global scale and highlight the deep global inequalities that exacerbate the climate crisis, with developing nations often bearing the brunt of its impacts. Real and lasting change depends on turning international promises and agreements into concrete action at the local and national levels. Every fraction of a degree matters. The choices made now in this critical moment will irrevocably shape the future of our planet and the generations to come. Migration is reshaping borders and politics worldwide, driven by conflict, poverty, and climate change. Governments tighten borders and strike deals to deter migrants, but critics warn of human rights abuses and rising risks. At the same time, aging populations and labor shortages push countries to compete for skilled workers. The result: a patchwork of policies, welcoming some, blocking others. The core questions: how do we balance security, compassion, and economic need? The answers will define our global community for decades. Migration diplomacy is at a crossroads. These 5 stories are deeply connected. Ukraine's war affects energy and climate. US-China rivalry shapes global alliances, and migration is fueled by all of the above. Understanding these links is key to seeing the real forces shaping our future. We'll keep following these stories, asking tough questions, and bringing you the context you need. Staying informed is an act of global engagement. I'm Vinay, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights. Good night.